Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
I got the script here. Oh, wait a minute. We're unscripted, right?
Unscripted.
Out the window.
Tear it apart, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Dr. Chris.
Hello, Bill Apter.
It's great to see you and all our unscripted viewers here this evening and watching on the replay. And you know what? I got stuff I want to discuss.
Let me talk to you.
No, I don't want to steal his. You just stole his line.
Yeah, you know.
I don't want to just talk.
I borrowed.
I don't want to just talk to you. I want to talk to them too.
We already stole, yeah.
You. It's good to see you. Well, Monday Night Raw. I watched the show, the Legion of Raw, you and Vince Russo did. So I have a couple of questions. There was a lot of it torn apart, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is not the Survivor Series. Randy Orton got a huge pop, but that pop was doubled over when CM Punk came out. But Monday night, outside of Chicago, and I don't know if you noticed this, I did. Maybe it's my perception, but Randy Orton in Nashville, the people went nuts. CM Punk got a nice pop, but I think the Randy Orton noise kind of was louder than the CM Punk noise. Did you hear the same thing?
I did. I even heard a few boos.
I did too.
CM Punk during the Seth Rollins promo. So
I did too.
Yeah. I said this and I had a heated conversation with a good friend, respectful, but heated conversation, who's a huge CM Punk fan. And, I said, hey, look, it happens. I psychoanalyze things as a psychology doctor. I said, this is a honeymoon phase, which I think is I think that's the reaction of people with CM Punk. I'm a sucker for a good return pop, so I'm all for that. And so that was cool. That was cool to see. I also said during the Survivor Series moment, I said I don't think it will translate fully outside of Chicago, and I was right. It didn't, and I think that Chicago gave him the pop because it was in Chicago. It made sense. but I don't think it would fully translate outside of Chicago, and I don't think it did. I don't think it will. I think that
I'm
he'll get
going to label something. It was a shock pop.
it was a shock pop. Yeah, I mean that's fair to say. I mean, I do think, and I do think, you know, that's the return pop, man. That's the hometown return pop. I mean, you know, that's been going on for ages. Anybody comes, you know, to their hometown making a return, you get that return pop, man. It happens all the time. Like I said, I'm a sucker for it. I like it. I like the moment, but at the same time, just like every other time, return pops don't translate outside of the hometown. And that's what I felt like happened on Monday Night Raw.
I also think, and I read this on a few websites during the day when I was just figuring what the public wrestling, sports entertainment fan reaction was. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them, of course, loved seeing Punk back on Monday Night Raw. Of course, Sunday was a different story. That was adoring, mm-hmm. so to say. Not adorable. That's not a wrestling word. It was, you know what I mean. Unless you're Adrian Adonis.
Adrian Adonis, exactly.
Right. However, the situation with Monday night is that people waited almost 2 hours and 49 minutes, mm-hmm. or 3 hours. No, it's 2 hours and 49 minutes. I'm sorry, mm-hmm. It's a 3-hour show. And Punk said nothing of any value except, it's great to be back. I'm home. I'm here to make money and not friends. Mm-hmm. I think we were waiting for more than that. I think, you know, maybe it's too premature to start this real going in deep against Seth Rollins, but I think I was expecting a little bit more from that last few minutes that he was on Raw. What about you?
I'm wondering if there was like an audible, because it seemed like he didn't have a lot of time. I think the writing was off. I think it was just bad writing, because why would you? I mean, he's been gone nearly 10 years. You know, in 2 months, it'll be 10 years since he left.
Yes.
Why would you only give him like a 10-minute segment? You know,
it was 2:48 when he came on.
Yeah,
2 hours and 48 minutes.
Yeah, so I mean, you're counting, you know, the entrance. That's going to be, you know, 5 minutes, the celebration and all that. So after all that, he probably had like 5 to 7 minutes to really talk. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, like, if you think about it, after a 10-year hiatus, nearly, you got 5 minutes to talk. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it was ill time. I think
people were waiting for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole night. They were waiting for this was a big thing.
I think the writing was bad. I think there was so many. There were just
so many, the writing or the formatting?
I think both, because there were just so many pointless segments throughout the 3-hour show that could have been ditched. You know, in exchange for CM Punk having about 10 minutes more time.
Wait a minute. You're not talking about the Tozawa jelly roll.
I am, yes. That's precisely what I was thinking about.
Don't touch that. I'm sensitive.
Yes, I already grabbed it and already ditched it. I mean, just there's so many backstage stuff that was just completely pointless. And we see the same thing every week. The Nia Jackson Zoe Stark match, pointless. I mean, like it was you didn't need so many segments within. I mean, I'm a sucker for R-Truth. I love me some R-Truth. But at the same time, you know, that segment could have been ditched, you know what I mean, or it could have been smaller. I think he had a couple segments. You know, it's just one of those things that, man, you know, it just could have been a lot shorter. And Orton and Rhea Ripley segment, so Orton cut a good, you know.
I want to talk to you about that. But yeah. Would you have started? My feeling was, after it was all over, that I would have started the 9 o'clock hour with CM Punk. That's what I would have done.
I liked giving us that kind of you know, cliffhanger to the end. Yeah, I like that because the third hour usually drops substantially anyways. And so I think, a lot of the people were there for Punk, because of the buzz. And I think if you do it at the 9 o'clock hour, that does nothing to the 10 o'clock hour.
Okay.
Because
All right.
because the 10 o'clock hour drops anyways. And so if you kind of give us those, those crumbs, so to speak, until the end, it heightens our anticipation. I mean, that's just how our minds work.
Sure.
It heightens our anticipation. But the problem with that is it didn't deliver. The promo didn't deliver with the hype. And I know everybody knows Punk can cut an amazing promo. I think one of the best promos that he cut recently was the return to AEW during Collision. The whole tell me when I'm telling lies. I think that was really, really good.
People though were thinking that he was going to come out and kind of say things about AEW, but I think legally WWE probably would have said, don't touch that. I get that, get that, but it just I was waiting for more substance from him because we all know that he had it. And yes, he said he changed. He looked a little different. He looked a little more clean cut.
Yeah, I liked that.
But it was different. Now you were talking about Rhea Ripley and Randy Orton. I talked to Randy's dad today. And that'll be on Sportskeeda exclusively, I believe, this coming Thursday, which will be, I don't have a calendar here, December, in case you're watching this.
November 3rd.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So I asked him, I said, when you saw your son face to face with Rhea Ripley, did you feel like I did? Like, I'm going to give her the RKO. What did you feel?
He should have.
Thank you. That's what I said.
Yeah, I think he should have. I think that would have. I mean, why not? I mean, he gave, he RKO'd Stephanie, during his
that's right
with Triple H. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean,
that's right.
Did punts and everything. Like if you're really trying to promote this Randy Orton Judgment Day thing, shifting his feud over from the Bloodline over to the Judgment Day, why not? Because it brings more vitriol and the hatred for Randy Orton from the Judgment Day. If you think about it, Bill, why does the Judgment Day dislike Randy Orton? Because he came to War Games and beat him as a special guest. Like, why does that cause any hatred? Like, if you're trying to really dig in, like sink your teeth into the storyline, why not debut the storyline by Randy Orton, boom, RKOing Rhea Ripley? That causes Rhea Ripley as like a mastermind, as kind of like a de facto leader of the Judgment Day, sicking the hounds out to Randy Orton. Now you start off with JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio kind of being the henchmen for Rhea Ripley. I mean, and they both together, like combine them both, stack them up together, put the pounds on together, and they still don't match Randy Orton.
What could have happened is he could have went to after McDonough, he could have gone to Dominic to do the RKO, and Rhea gets in there by accident, so to say, and she gets RKO'd. And what a big deal that would have been. That would have been a huge big deal.
I just don't think Dominic and JD was necessary. I mean, I just don't. I think that was a pointless part of the segment. I just think that there's already a ton of tension during Rhea and Randy. I just think that it would have really been just them. I think you diluted it with Dominic and JD, and it just became just kind of contrived at that point. I mean, if you're going to do Dominic and Randy, you didn't have to have JD and Randy come and attack. I mean, you didn't have to have JD and Dominic come and attack Randy. You could have easily set the main event, and it would have meant more if Randy would have RKO'd Rhea. Dominic is clearly upset about that because he's mommy and says, okay, I want Randy Orton for the main event. That would have set it up much better than some stupid attack by him and JD.
No. I agree with you. But when he threw the line, well, Daddy's back. I mean, the
It
whole
was good.
crowd,
Yeah.
the crowd loved that set. That was one of my favorite segments. But
Yeah.
again, like you said, that attack, I knew an attack was going to come.
I did too.
It
Yeah.
just, you can feel it. You can
But it
feel it.
just didn't really set it up well, because if he was already, if JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio already attacked Randy Orton and they weren't able to beat him or get the best of him together, why would it make sense for somehow Dominic to get the best of him alone? Like that, it just doesn't logically make sense to me.
I'll tell you the scenario I just thought of. Okay. Randy's eye to eye with Rhea. Behind him comes Damian Priest, because now he looks like a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And Randy is in between the two of them now. He's looking back and forth, and the fans are going, RKO, RKO. And he makes like he's going to RKO Damian Priest, but he goes after Rhea Ripley instead. And Priest is like stunned. Randy leaves. Oh my God, did you see that?
I think that would have been cool. I think it would have been even better, to me, if Rhea would have continued to cut a promo. Because the promo she was cutting was good. It was like, you're coming in as somebody's, you're coming in someone's as their friend, you're being upstaged and all that, right? And she's just keep egging Randy on, like he's just kind of sitting there, just kind of Viper. You're keep messing with the Viper. He's about to strike, and then she just keeps saying all these kind of disparaging comments and all these jabs and all these pokes, and he's just kind of and it's causing the fans to kind of rise up in anticipation, like, oh, he's going to do something. And then of course the commentators is like, oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you, Rhea, and then she just kind of says, because you're not the Randy Orton that I remember as the Viper, right?
Yeah.
And then that just caused him boom like that to snap, and then boom, Randy Orton, the RKO. I think the place would have erupted, man. Yeah.
I'll tell you something where I think this is going with Randy Orton, and it's not even the Judgment Day. Did you notice when Cody cut his promo, he mentioned, and this is not the first time he's mentioned this, about Randy Orton mentoring him as he was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I think somewhere down the line, there is going to be some sort of clash between Cody and Randy, and kind of like the old Bruno and Larry Zbyszko type of situation with the mentor and the mentee, with something planned between the two of them. And I think the fans would go bananas over that.
Yeah, I've said that in the previous show before. I do think, one of my scenarios was Randy Orton was actually going to turn on Cody during the War Games match and set up a feud between them. I think that there's a good chance that we will see Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at the Royal Rumble.
So let's say this happens, where you and I are always talking about fan favorite against fan favorite, rule breaker. Who do you think the fans will take the side of who? I say Cody.
Cody. Yeah. I think Cody would be the babyface here. Yeah. Because the thing is, they're trying to continue to put filler feuds for Cody, setting up for Roman at WrestleMania, which to me, I'm not a big fan of, because now you're throwing Shinsuke in there, and it's just like,
that Nakamura was a filler.
Yeah, it's definitely a figure. It's a filler feud. Dominic Mysterio was a filler feud. Like, they keep throwing these filler feuds in for Cody, and now it's Shinsuke. And I think another one is going to be Randy Orton at the top of the year. I think after the Orton feud, they'll set up Cody and Roman. Now, Cody did mention that he's going to be a part of the Royal Rumble.
Number one, he's the first.
So, I mean, I think you should have done Cody and Randy at the Royal Rumble, but of course, you can do like an Elimination Chamber, which is after that. That Perth that's in Perth, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So I think they're looking for marquee matches at Perth. And so I do think that Cody versus Randy Orton would be, of course, it would be a marquee match for Elimination Chamber. So,
Bronson Reed's going to have to be in a major match there, because
he's an Aussie. He's in Aussie, and so is Rhea Ripley. Or she's
Yeah.
She's from Australia, isn't she?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, she's in
By the
Aussie.
way, now that we brought that, we were just talking about that. The Ivar Bronson Reed last night after the matches, our editor Raju Dasgupta and I were talking, and I said, "Match of the year! Look at that!" So that was back in the old days. That was Haystacks Calhoun, Happy Humphrey. That was Crusher Blackwell against Crusher Blackwell, so to say. Got the thing with outside the ring. It actually, to me, that match actually worked. It really wasn't that bad. It was kind of like I don't know, a fun match to me. Nia Jax should have been the third person in the ring.
Sure. Yeah, I would have called. I call that the meat market match. Like
wow, I like that.
Just a bunch of meat, flying and flapping, man. Just.
So, can we talk about something sad?
Before we get to something sad, I had one thing about CM Punk. Before you went to Randy Orton, I was thinking about CM Punk, and I think we were talking about a few things, and it made me think. I don't necessarily remember exactly what I was thinking about, but it did have something to do with Seth Rollins, and just kind of setting the tone for Seth Rollins, and to me, just kind of the promo falling flat. There were some seeds planted with that promo. Like everybody embraced me, everybody welcomed me, but not everybody. Or not everybody. Yeah, okay. I do think that they'll set up between CM Punk and Seth. So what do you think? So you think CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. So do you think the WWE trusts CM Punk? So do you think that they're at a point of trusting CM Punk with the World Heavyweight Championship?
If they switched the World Heavyweight Championship, which, if you're taking it in that direction, if they switch that from Seth Rollins to CM Punk, then Cody becomes the guy to beat CM Punk because it's the perfect end of the story because of the relationship or non-relationship with AEW there.
I don't think that's a perfect way to end the story because the finish
not end it, but
I thought
to put the belt on Cody.
I don't think the finish the story angle is going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think the finish the story angle is going to be for the Undisputed Championship because the promo start off with he's doing it in honor of Dusty Rhodes, and he never became WWE champion, and so now he's going to finish the story. So I do think it'll end with him beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So
sometimes they don't call Roman Reigns' title what it is. The Universal. It's almost like they've dropped that verbiage from time to time. Have you noticed that?
I think they call him the Undisputed WWE Universal Champion or something.
No, I think they stopped using Universal in a lot of the shows.
I think they blend them together. Well, I haven't seen SmackDown. I haven't seen a full episode of SmackDown in
that's why.
In a long time. So you definitely could be right there. So well, granted, Roman Reigns, appears once every 3 months nowadays. Okay, so you're old school. You're old school, Bill Apter. Which again, I always say I really appreciate that about you because I'm a traditionalist as well when it comes to.
Well, thank you. But I love the new school too.
Yeah, but okay. Let me continue to put you over. I'm putting you over here.
I appreciate that.
So I appreciate. Yes, indeed. There you go. Bill Apter, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm here all night.
Yes, indeed. But I do like the old school about you when it comes to that. But so you were there, of course, and taking the pictures and stuff like that when someone like a Hulk Hogan who was champ. Yes, he wasn't competing every week, but he was. His presence was there. You know what I mean? He was cutting a promo, or at least there was a taped something. It was something about him because he was the moneymaker. You know, the champion is the moneymaker, is at the helm of the company, is someone who they are putting their stock. They're going all in, pushing in all the chips at this person who they deemed world champion, because they are the ones who book people as world champions because they want them to be at the front of the company, the face of the company. So if Roman Reigns is the face of the company, why in the world is he away from television so much? And if he's not, look, if he wants to take time away from TV, I'm all for that. Go for it. You know, he's been doing a lot over the past 3 years to really up the product as far as interest is concerned. Yeah. But why not drop the championship though if he's going to be gone for so much and for so?
Well, they talk about him all the time on both shows, so he's there in terms of mentality of the product. He's still there. So when he comes back, it's a special attraction.
Yeah, but they don't do it enough. I mean, that like he's and the thing is, there was a time. I mean, I watched.
But you're saying you're not watching SmackDown, and you
no. What I'm saying, what I'm saying. I watched SmackDown every single week until probably a month ago. Like I just stopped. Okay. Like it started to bore me. I stopped watching it. I still watch highlights like on socials and stuff like that, but I don't watch full episodes of SmackDown anymore. Okay. And so all the years and the weeks, you know, that I watched SmackDown, all of it, all episodes, there were so many episodes that had nothing to do with Roman Reigns except for maybe Paul Heyman doing the old call Roman Reigns. And
I was just going to pick up my cell phone and do that, actually.
Yeah, and that was it. I mean, that was all of Roman Reigns' presence by him, you know, being by proxy of Paul Heyman. Like Hogan didn't do that at the helm. Savage didn't do that at the helm. Austin didn't do that at the helm. Like,
didn't do that.
Bret Hart didn't do that. Like, why do you think that the WWE think that's okay for the face of the company, the person who's supposed to be the face of the company?
That's the issue. That's the issue. Okay, they always had a face of the company, but I think now in the past few years that rather than depending upon that guy, that person like a Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage or a Bret Hart to be the face of the company, they want this to be an all-encompassing company that everybody is out there, so to say. But the problem is,
it's a problem.
No, I'm going to tell you what the problem is.
Yeah, what's the problem?
Is if you stop somebody on the, I'm glad you asked. If you stop somebody on the street and say, name a current professional wrestler, and they're not a wrestling fan, they're probably going to say, is Hulk Hogan still wrestling? Or something like that. John Cena, they'll mention. I got him right back there.
There you go. Yep.
They'll mention people, or The Rock. They'll mention people.
Do me a favor, move your head to the left a little bit. A little bit more. You can't see him.
Oh, thank you very much. But yeah, I think the mentality was, you know, that you always used to count on that one guy. Hogan became that one guy. Bruno was that one guy.
Sure. Backlund.
So well, no, I don't think Backlund was that one guy because they loaded up the back. No, they loaded up the Backlund shows with Dusty Rhodes, Mil Mascaras. No, Backlund was not the one guy. Absolutely not.
Wasn't he champ for like 8 years? Like
right, but they loaded the cards up. He was a great technical wrestler. He was an okay personality. He was serious until they made him Mr. Backlund, young man.
Great, by the way.
But he wasn't the man at that point.
Well, the series still Mr. Backlund was 94. I'm talking about late 70s Backlund.
Yeah, no, so am I.
Okay.
So am I. They always loaded the cards up with him.
Well, they did that with Hogan too, though.
Mil Mascaras. No, Hogan, if you had Hogan on the card without a lot of other superstars on there, they came to see Hogan. He was the money guy.
He was, but they had Warrior on the card, Savage on the card, Jake on the card.
Well, those were the big shows. But a lot of the champions back then did house shows. too. But at Madison Square Garden, they did not have the confidence after a while that Bob was going to draw, as well as Bruno, Pedro, superstar Billy Graham. One of the biggest things in the world that to this day I cannot still fathom, and you old school fans will realize this, is why they didn't keep superstar Billy Graham in that championship role for much longer. He was over so well. He had everything. He could talk. He could work in the ring. He looked like a champion.
Yeah.
So now I'm off on a tangent.
Oh, it's all, hey, it's unscripted, ladies and gentlemen.
It's unscripted. But no, Bob Backlund was a great wrestler. I'm not taking
he was
anything
champ for
away
about
from him.
5.5 years or something like that.
Yeah, but again, if you look at the shows that he
Yeah.
was on, they loaded them up. They always had somebody who they were kind of counting on, that if Bob's not drawing well against this guy, we've got Mil Mascaras, we've got Dusty Rhodes, we've got Billy Graham on there, maybe Ivan Putski at times too. And
Dusty, though, I know that he would do the joint shows, but he was in the NWA at that time, though.
Who are we talking about?
Dusty.
No, but he was coming back and forth to the Garden.
Yeah, he would do. That's for MSG. Yeah, they would do joint shows.
Yeah, but they went with the Garden shows, and also Mil Mascaras. They loaded those cards up to make sure that they were going to draw.
They didn't do that for 5.
I was there.
Of course you were there, Bill. You were taking the photos. You're talking about the MSG shows, though. I'm talking about like the rest of the territories.
We're talking about the spot shows. Bob worked a lot of spot shows, but again, they protected the gate with people like Ivan Putski, Strongbow. They had a very good supporting cast there. But to see Bob,
I think Hogan had a good supporting cast too, though.
He did, but Hogan, you could have taken the supporting cast away from Hogan. It was Hogan.
Yeah, it was Hogan. Yes,
he
yes.
was the man.
Hogan was the man, yes, indeed. So why do you think that they kept Backlund as champ for 5.5 years if he wasn't the guy?
I think Vince Sr. liked the presentation of that all-American boy as the guy to go out and talk to the kids and talk to people in the suit or in the shirt and tie, and a real physical specimen. Somebody who was no shtick.
Indeed. All right, before we
run out of any time here, I do want to bring up something sad. Sonny Temisic, who used to shoot pictures for us back in the Smoky Mountain days, back when I was with the magazines. I was with her during those days. I was with her when she was with Chris Candido. I interviewed her 100 times with personal friends with she and Chris forever, and to see what has happened to her at this point, I just want to voice my personal feeling that I hope the time that she has to spend incarcerated this time, and she may not get out till she's like 65 years old, or
she's 50 now and she's serving 17.
So about 65, 67, 68. I just hope that when she comes out, that she's repented for everything. That you can't turn back time, and the person who died in this, the older man who died in this thing, we can't bring him back. But it's just terrible what happened to her life.
This is what I'll say, Bill. So my PhD is in forensic psychology. I have a master's degree. I have 3 master's degrees. One of them is in criminal justice with a specialization in behavioral sciences. And so when it comes to crime and criminal justice and forensics and stuff like that, that's my jam. I'm very, very academically educated in that area. And so actually my dissertation, my PhD dissertation, talked about recidivism. So I'm well versed as far as recidivism and things like that. Recidivism, it's very high within the first 3 or so years. And so my big thing is, she's speaking of recidivism, like there's been plenty of times where she's been arrested and jailed, and,
Explain that word to people who might be
yes,
watching this and don't know what it is.
recidivism is when someone serves time in prison, typically jail or prison, but typically prison or incarceration of some sort. If someone's incarcerated, recidivism is when they get released from being incarcerated and they return to prison. That's called recidivism. And so, I definitely think that with Sonny, though, because a lot of times when you think about criminal justice, you think about psychology and you think about the criminal mind. You think of mind of an offender. And with Sonny, it happened over and over again, and she was just rolling the dice over and over again with the law. She was in rehab after rehab, and WWE's front the bill on hers, before. And so I just really think that when you have a mentality of living on the edge, and that becomes so much of your gimmick, you just kind of want to live it, and it becomes super dangerous to not only you but other people. And we saw that, unfortunately, we saw that with the death of someone, because unfortunately she wasn't able to, after repeated amounts of time to get it right, she was still drinking and driving, man. I mean? So, I mean, to be honest with you, my personal opinion, I feel zero sympathy or, fondness or, condolences, as far as Sonny is concerned. I just as a Christian man, I pray for her peace and forgiveness. As far as the family is concerning her, I hope that she does learn from this experience, that again, living on the edge for so long. Okay, well, you killed someone. It's not even alleged anymore. She was found guilty. She served time. It's no longer alleged. She was deemed the culprit. And I do think that all the time she had an opportunity to, because she would get arrested, get released, get arrested, get released. She didn't learn that. She's been doing that for years. And I just really hope that she learns in this 17 years, could be less, good behavior. I don't know the actual details as far as if she's eligible for parole or release on good behavior or anything like that. But just say she serves the 17 years out. I just hope that this 17 years doesn't cause her to be rebellious and say, okay, well, now I'm a free woman and I'm 67 years old. I'm still going to do the same things that I did before and live on the edge. You know what I mean? So I really hope that. So as of now, I have zero sympathy for Sonny.
I only do because of the relationship. Right. She's got, because of the relationship that I've known her since she was a teenager. And I saw her at her best. And unfortunately, I've seen her at her worst.
Okay. So you knowing her that before we go, we got a super chat here. I'm gonna hit up Rollins in a minute. Knowing her, for as long as you did, with Smoky Mountain and things like that, I think she got into business. She got into business when she was 20, I believe. And so, but at the same time, with all the documentaries and all the people I've talked to who know Sonny, I've got a, this, I got a pretty big Rolodex of wrestlers that I've talked to about certain things. And so, like, she's kind of been a wild child for a while now, like for a long time. That's kind of like what she does, and even in the 90s, even in the mid to late 90s, when she was in the WWE, she kind of got this mentality of kind of prima donna-ish and, wasn't very well received. And especially her rumors of having a thing with Shawn Michaels and that kind of bringing her up. And, it's just that she kind of been like that too. When Cornette brought her into Smoky Mountain, there was more. I think she was an interviewer, if I'm not mistaken. She started off as an interviewer. And that was kind of innocent. She just kind of was happy that she was getting in the territory at that time. But as soon as she got that attention, it started to kind of blow her head up a bit, you know what I mean? And it's really took her into a downward
I
spiral.
never saw the large ego in
Okay.
her.
Okay.
Again, I've known her a long time.
Sure.
I never saw the large ego. What I did see was that the business and the ugly part of the business, just like the great rock and roll bands that
Yeah.
sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened to her. She got into that whole sex,
Mhm.
drugs, and rock and roll thing,
Mhm.
and that changed her completely.
Yeah.
That really did it, and she
Yeah.
never got out of it.
Yeah, sadly. Yeah. All right, here we go. We got Rollins 999 super chat, bro.
Hey, Rollins.
You guys don't want Solo to beat Roman, but why shouldn't the WWE pursue a Solo versus Roman angle similar to the Batista versus Triple H angle, especially after the Usos suggested a Solo be the head of the table? You know, I think Solo's I think Solo's run has cooled off significantly, man. Yeah. I just don't see it.
I don't think they're placing him into that top tier. The person that I think is going to get lost in this whole thing, and I certainly hope not.
I think I know who you're talking about. And I think
LA Knight. LA Knight.
No, I wasn't thinking LA Knight, but I do think I think he won't. I think he should kind of step away from it. I want LA Knight and Logan Paul for the US Championship at WrestleMania. I think that's
that would be great, but I have a feeling with Punk and Orton now taking all the attention, we have to wait till that attention cools off a bit to get LA Knight into that the prime spot again.
Well, I think it helps that he's on SmackDown and that Punk and Orton's on Raw. I think that.
Well, no.
What?
This Friday night, depending upon when you're watching this, Randy Orton's going to be on SmackDown.
Orton's advertised for SmackDown too?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure Cody's going to show up there too, probably.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but interesting. That's interesting that Orton's advertised for him. I do think that's. I don't think that even with Orton there, it's going to hurt LA Knight. I don't, because I think that LA Knight is going to be pegged for the U.S. Championship. I do think that. I think that's next for him. I think that they should do a very long. I think they should do it from now until Mania. I mean, you're looking at about 4 months, from now until Mania. I think that they should take that time to make LA Knight a star. I think it should be. I think he should beat Logan Paul. But as far as the Solo thing, before we go, I mean, his promo's okay. He just hasn't really got there for me.
He's not the monster that they were looking at maybe at the beginning, because they had so many other things going on with so many other people.
Yeah,
they kind of left him at the same level.
I agree, and I do think if you make him a baby face, that means that he would have to go alone. You know what I mean? And I think right now, I think that Paul Heyman and him being a heel has an opportunity to accentuate his positives more. And I think that the areas that aren't as polished can be hidden behind the heel role. And that usually happens. I mean, like heels, like the things that aren't polished as much. I mean, Andre was never a catch-can wrestler, but he was a good heel. You know what I mean? Like he was a really, really good heel, and he had a mouthpiece in Bobby Heenan, so he didn't have to carry them. I mean, baby faces are the one who carry the matches anyways. You know what I mean? Typically. There you go, boss. Yeah, very nice. That's the thing with heels. I mean, you don't have to carry matches. You don't have to be well polished. And I think with Solo as a baby face, he has to now play from behind as the baby face. And I just don't. I just don't.
They're not going to go. Solo is a natural bad guy.
Yeah, seemingly. Yeah, I just don't see it. So, all right. Well, my man, Bill Apter.
No other questions for us here before we leave? We have one more question here.
How many more super chats? Oh, we do got more super chat. Okay, let's do one more super chats. We'll end with that before we go. Like I say every week, super chats gets precedence, and we can't promise any other question. At one point, Bianca Belair, Guta. Roman Reigns were the longest reigning champions. Belair lost her title. Who should lose next? Gunther or Roman? That's a good question. This is one reason why Gunther should beat Roman. I don't think Gunther should beat Roman either.
I don't see them against each other, but I think I can't see Gunther losing. There's no one there right now that I could see Gunther losing to at this point.
I'd be okay with Gunther losing to Jay.
To Jay, or maybe to Ludwig when they go to Germany.
Kaiser is such a good heel, like I said before, man. I just don't see the heel versus heel dynamic. I think Jay's the guy, man. I think if there's one person that he should lose it to, it should be Jey Uso.
Okay, I'm going to predict, by the way, that the Randy Orton Jey Uso marriage currently, that they're pals now, that's not going to last.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to be. Yeah,
Randy Orton, the apex predator, never forgets.
Because he hears voices in his head. That's the reason why they tell him. They always remind him.
Yeah.
Speaking of remind the people where to find you on the socials, my man. What was that, Sabu or something?
No, the original Sheik. The original Sheik.
Oh, here you go. Yes,
the original.
The both of them did it. Sheik and Sabu. Well, okay, wow, we got Rollins once again, my man.
Oh my goodness, Rollins is spending salary on us here.
Yes, indeed. Also, do you guys think that the WWE still needs a Roman Reigns or a WWE Championship to draw money? Survivor Series proved to me that Roman and that world title is not necessary anymore. I think I think it's more of a honeymoon stage with Survivor Series as far as Randy Orton and CM Punk's return. I think you still need that face. They're not trying to make CM Punk or Randy Orton the faces of the company right now. They're just novelties. They're just special attractions. That's kind of the feel that they have with both of them.
Well, we don't know about that with Randy Orton yet. I think maybe.
I still think you make him a special. I mean, they've been making him more of a. Even before he left, he was kind of a tag teaming with Riddle, and he just was still he was kind of in the middle of the card. Like he wasn't like even a main eventer at that time. So
they need young, vital, new people.
Yes,
Logan Paul is that guy, and I'm going to say something that
I don't think Logan Paul's that guy. No, he's a special attraction.
No, he may be.
He's not going to be there full time.
I'm talking about the social media part of him to get the WWE even more ingrained.
A crossover. I agree with that.
Yeah, but you know what? One thing I think you and Vince Russo said on Legion of Raw, which I disagree with, and I think you may have said it. I think the Creed brothers are a young version of a team that can grow into be Steiners.
No, I didn't say that. And I actually said that they are growing on me yesterday.
Oh, okay. Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're growing on me. I did say that they need
definitely growing on me.
Yeah, they're growing on me. I just don't like the fact that they still haven't spent a lot of time giving them a character. So
not yet, and they are real brothers.
They don't do a good job at that though. They don't do a good job of really spending time honing in character. They just throw people out in wrestling matches all the time.
Well, that's a tag team division. We need a stronger tag team division at this time. Maybe these guys will be the kickoff of something like that.
Maybe the unscripted duo should go in the WWE and tell them what it's all about.
Why don't we tell them what it's all about? Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let them know where to find you in the socials, my man. Bill Apter.
Right here in my box. At Apter Wrestling on Twitter. And here on Sportskeeda, Wrestle Binge right here on Unscripted, on the Time Machine, and special Apter chats. And if you're watching this live, don't forget my exclusive interview with the daddy of Randy Orton, Bob Orton Jr. And I do ask him about his plaster arm thing is all better. But talking about his son Randy's comeback, that should be on our channel on sometime on Thursday.
Very nice.
Where do they find you, Dr. Chris?
At Chris Prolific. So you got at Chris Prolific and at Apter One Wrestling right there.
That's good. You're at both of those? That's amazing.
Yeah, you can find me. You can find me both. I got two.
I know where to find you. All right, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
This guy right here is Bill Apter. I am Dr. Chris.
Touch fingers here before we leave.
Yes, indeed. Oh, the zap. There you go.
Right.
I cut your finger off again. Have a good night, everybody. So long.